Hello, I'm Debbie Kay, a volunteer with the League of Women Voters of Portland, and you're watching Video Voters Guide. We are at MetroEast Community Media to talk with candidates running in the November 2016 election. With me today is Michael Calcagno, who is running for State Legislature District 50. Michael, welcome. Thanks for coming today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for doing this and for having me here.
It's our pleasure. Thank you. Please tell us a little bit about your district.
Yeah, so House District 50 is where I grew up. It's my home. I love the city of Gresham. It includes a little bit of East Portland, the Rockwood area. And it's, it's such a great place to live. It's where I run my business. It's where my wife and I have our home. I want to go to Salem to help be an independent voice for everyone who is living in Gresham and Rockwood so that we can have better policies that serve the hardworking families and our senior citizens much better than I think we're doing today.
Thank you. Well, let's just jump right into the hot one, which is Measure 97.
Sure.
If it does not pass, how will you address, or how would you recommend addressing the predicted budget shortfall, especially for education and social services, homelessness, affordable housing?
Sure. So I think that we have tremendous issues ahead in the 2017 legislative session. And Measure 97, maybe for folks who don't know, it's a corporate sales tax, essentially on companies that earn over $250 million per year. And it would generate $6 billion a year per biennium in additional revenue.
Excuse me, did you mean that earn over 25 million?
25 million.
There we go.
Yeah. So, that would certainly generate quite a bit of new revenues, and it would certainly tax companies in Oregon quite a bit more, and it would fill the hole that's been created. And a lot of that hole comes from the Medicare subsidies that are going away, and it also comes from our public employee retirement system. So that's the PERS system that we have in Oregon. And those two things are both crucially important issues that are creating a lot of that deficit that we see ahead. And I think that we have to, as state lawmakers, look at how do we get to a place where we can have services that we deliver to our citizens that provide actual outcomes. So I look at the money we're spending right now in Salem, and we have one of the worst graduation rates in the nation. We have one of the worst track records when it comes to our foster care system, how we're treating and taking care of the foster kids here in our state. We have traffic congestion that is just out of control. And then not to mention, 1 in 5 Oregonians need state assistance for food stamps. And so we have tremendous needs in our state, tremendous challenges, but I think that there are tremendous opportunities to look at where are we wasting money in state government and say, can we redirect that money and those programs that aren't as effective as they need to be? How can we redirect that money into better working programs? So I think about things like $300 million on a Columbia River crossing bridge, $200 million on a Cover Oregon website. These numbers are not small things, and that waste in government, I think, is why I'm running as an independent rather than a Democrat or Republican. We have to start addressing the waste in this state if we ever want to move forward. And so I think that we have to look at tax reforms, certainly, and I'm not opposed to looking at revenue, but I think we have to do it in a way that creates a large tax base rather than a narrow tax base that is not so regressive. I think 97 is a little bit regressive, that it hurts the lowest income Oregonians the most. And so that's just some of my thoughts there. I know we only have 8 minutes, so I'll try and be quiet now and get on to the next question.
Please talk about your legislative priorities for improving gun safety.
Sure. So I think gun violence is abhorrent, and we have to do something about it. Just last week, 2 weeks ago, we saw the year anniversary of the tragedy that happened at Umpqua Community College. And here in East County, the shooting at Reynolds High School is also pretty fresh, I think, in a lot of people's minds. And so I think that When we talk about gun safety, we have to do it in a way that respects the rights that exist. So I'm a big proponent of our First Amendment rights, and I'm also a proponent of our Second Amendment rights. Not to say that we can't look at mechanisms that provide better safety when people are in very dire situations, but I think we have to respect the rights of people, while at the same time, we need to get to a place where we're looking at the root causes of things in Oregon. So what is the root cause of 1 in 5 people on food stamps? What is the root cause of gun violence? And I would argue that mental health and addiction services are a top priority to prevent gun violence. Rather than infringing upon constitutional rights of other folks, I think we need to say, how can we do a better job at providing mental health services, early prevention and intervention? I'm much more interested, because that is how we build better and stronger fabrics in society, is really helping folks that are in not so great a places.
Thank you. What do you think about ensuring adequate funds to address the real priorities of our transportation infrastructure?
So transportation is probably one of my top 3 priorities in our state. We have to get our freeways moving again if we want our economy to get moving again. So much of our goods and services and the commerce that creates good jobs is tied to having a robust and modern transportation system. And we don't have that in Oregon. We haven't invested in roads and bridges and highways, our seaports, our airports, our railways. We have to get back to that in our state. And I think that in the 2015 session, in the 2016 session, we had gridlock in Salem, gridlock on the streets. So I want to be part of a coalition when I get to Salem that helps put together a transportation package that addresses the critical infrastructure needs of our bridges, our highways, and our ports, our airports, and our seaports, because that's how we get commerce again. So I think we have to look at the gas tax. I think we also have to look at sunsetting ineffective programs that don't do what they're intended to do. So I think we can find revenue through sunsetting ineffective programs, and I think that we should look at a modest gas tax increase to create a robust funding package that will create good jobs, good blue-collar construction jobs, to build more roads, build more bridges, and that will allow people to get out of the traffic gridlock that, I commute on 84 and 205. I understand the issues. So, yeah.
We have about a minute left. What about what can or should the state of Oregon do to reduce carbon dioxide emissions and promote alternative energy sources?
Yeah, we have to keep Oregon green. I love this state. I grew up here fishing, salmon out of the Columbia and sturgeon, and crabbing along the Oregon coast, and enjoying all the beauty that our state has to offer. So we have to look at how we can reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And honestly, I think our transportation package can go miles toward this goal, because when cars are sitting idling in traffic, we're just creating more pollution. And I think when cars can move free-flowing again, we'll reduce our carbon output in this state. I also think, hey, I drive an electric car, and I'm not afraid to champion electric technology as a future technology that can move us away from the dirty burning fossil fuels that we've come to rely on. We have to move to a clean energy economy, and I want to be at the forefront of that, while keeping in mind it's a balance between the cost of living, which is certainly an issue, and how we protect our economy.
Thank you, Michael.
And our environment. So, yeah.
I really appreciate your coming in today, and thank you for watching. This has been the Video Voters Guide. The general election is November 8th. The last day to register is October 18th. Be sure to inform yourself about the candidates and about the ballot measures, and exercise your right to vote. Thank you for being with us today, and thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah.